Alrighty, Shalom. Before I start off, I'd like to first and foremost, as always, give all praises, honor, and glory to our Heavenly Father and His only begotten Son, Yahweh, Ba'Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'Hashem Rachak Wadash. Double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone taught us the truth and rule well, and are the true leaders of the nation of Israel, which consists of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, as well as you speckled bird Israelites scattered abroad. Yeah, just another quick lesson on, an article that the brothers had shared at camp, which says, Trump administration thinks U.S. can handle the truth of UFOs. It says Americans could soon learn more about what many have long suspected regarded unidentified flying objects. And really why they're doing this is because the sightings over here in America, are so numerous. Like the chariots. See, we know what these are. We've identified these so-called UFOs, through the Holy Scriptures. Scriptures refer to them as clouds. Because they can cloak and disguise themselves as clouds, if you will, but also, they are the chariots of Israel, man. The chariots of Yahweh Ba'Shem El Shai. Okay, the vehicles of the holy angels. And they are as living creatures themselves as well. They can shapeshift, and, they're trying to control the narrative because there's so many sightings that they have no choice but to admit that there's something going on. And we know why there's a lot of sightings here in America pursuing, matter of fact, I'm going to start with that real quick. This is Amos 9:8. Behold, the eyes of the Lord Yahweh are upon the sinful kingdom. Which first and foremost dealt with the nation of Israel. But you can also, apply this to the chariot sightings that are seen here in America. The eyes of the Lord Yahweh are upon the sinful kingdom. You can equate that sinful kingdom also to America, aka Babylon the Great. This is why you have all these UFO sightings, mainly here in America. You have them in other parts of the world, but for the most part, a lot of sightings happen here in America. And it says, and I will destroy it from off the face of the earth, saving that I will not utterly destroy the house of Jacob, said the Lord. Because pursuing Zechariah 13:8, we know that 2/3 of the nation of Israel are going to perish. But when the third part shall be left therein, dealing with the elect. It says, I will destroy it from off the face of the earth. We know that America, aka Babylon the Great, by way of this thermonuclear destruction, the lake of fire, the second death, is going to be wiped clean off the face of the earth. This place is going to be wholly desolate, saving that I will not utterly destroy the house of Jacob, said the Lord, because the Lord is going to deliver his elect, from the four winds of heaven throughout the whole earth, but mainly here in Babylon the Great. All right. And that's going to happen by way of the so-called UFOs. The elect are going to be beamed up, all right, upon Yahweh's return. It says UFO whistleblower Luis Elizondo, a former Pentagon official, joined Kumo on Friday to discuss the FAA admitting a UFO crashed into a fighter jet in 2023, which that's not true. All right, and again, that's them trying to control the narrative. All right. Ain't no way in hell a fighter jet would crash into a so-called UFO chariot. All right. Because, if anything, the chariot would evade, the chariot would phase through that craft. It ain't no way in hell that a fighter jet would crash, one of the chariots of the Most High. Okay. It says in the Trump administration's openness to discussing the subject, we've been seeing for the last 8 years that there have been dozens upon dozens of these near-air collisions that have occurred with military and civilian and commercial pilots, Elizondo said. This is not just happening with military aircraft. It says strange flying objects reported near Arizona Air Force Base ranges, according to the FAA. It says, the whistleblower believes the Trump administration's actions are due to the existence of UFOs being the worst kept secret in American history. It's been 80 years of suppression and misinformation, and we're at the point now where I think the administration realizes that America can handle the truth. So they're not going to give these Americans the truth. So they know very well what these are, all right? But again, they're going to try to control the narrative. All right, like they're saying it crashed. One of them crashed into a fighter jet back in 2023. That's complete bullshit. All right. It says, I think we're finally getting a congealing, if you will, of the right people, the right resources, the right authorities to finally shed some light on this incredible mystery and give the information not only to Congress, but to the American people, Elizondo added. All right, and it's the prophets of Yahweh Shemel Shai, all right, the men of the Lord that are truly shedding the light on this incredible mystery. All right, scriptures talk about surely the Lord will do nothing but he reveal his secret unto the servants of prophets. All right. And those so-called UFOs, once again, are the chariots of Yahweh Shemel Shai, the vehicles of the angels. So now I'm going to start here. Because this is what these chariots are coming back to do. All right. Isaiah 66 and 15. I should start with that. Isaiah 66 and 15. It says, for behold, the Lord will come with fire and with his chariots like a whirlwind. Right, the chariots being the so-called UFOs. And a whirlwind is a destructive force, man. All right. For behold, the Lord will come with fire. All right. How is America going to be destroyed? By way of thermonuclear fire. Okay. But also by way of the Lord's chariots, he's going to add to that destruction. Because one of the points that was mentioned at this camp yesterday was how all these people are gonna be chipped up. All right, you're gonna have wicked jakes throughout other parts of the world. See, America is gonna get hit. Other parts of the world are gonna get hit. All right, America is gonna be completely destroyed by the missiles. Other parts of the world are gonna get hit too. All right, but you're gonna have a lot of Israelites, speckled birds as well, throughout other parts of the earth. All right, the whole earth, that are chipped up as well. And when the Lord comes, he's gonna be zapping people out here. For behold, the Lord will come with fire and with his chariots like a whirlwind to render his anger with fear. The scriptures talk about how the Lord is angry with the wicked every day. All right. And his rebuke with flames of fire. In the NLT, the Lord is coming with fire, and his swift chariots roar like a whirlwind. He will bring punishment with the fury of his anger and the flaming fire of his hot rebuke. Verse 16 in the NLT, for the Lord will punish the world by fire, and by his sword he will judge the earth. All right, the ultimate sword is a thermonuclear missile, man. Okay. But again, I'm gonna get 2nd Ezra 13. Okay, because he's gonna pop up in the midst of this third world war that's brewing up. These nations are gonna be fighting over there in the east. All right. In the valley of Yahweh Shaphat, the valley of the Most High's judgment. And in the midst of that, Yahweh Shai is going to make his return. He's going to pop up on them. And he's going to lay their armies waste over there. And he's going to make his way from the east and head over here to the Western Hemisphere to deal with this place. It says, verse 16 in the NLT, the Lord will punish the world by fire and by his sword. He will judge the earth, and many will be killed by him. For by fire, in the KJV, for by fire and by the sword will the Lord plead with all flesh, and the slain of the Lord shall be many. Let me get this war in heaven scripture. Revelation 12:7, and there was war in heaven. And this is part of all right, what's read in 2nd Ezra the 13th chapter. I'm gonna jump to it after this. All right, and this is what Christians get misconstrued, confused. All right, they think this is talking about literal spiritual demons, Satan, fighting against Archangel Michael. All right, and there was this war in heaven between the angels, and Satan fought and his angels. Nah, they ain't talking about that. It says there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon. Okay, the dragon is talking about Esau. And the dragon fought and his angels. Okay, so Esau, he's going to come with his fighter jets, advanced, fighter jets and planes, drones, whatever the case may be. All right, there's going to be an aerial battle. And Archangel Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels. Verse 8, the point, and prevailed not, neither was a place found anymore in heaven. It says, verse 9, and a great dragon was cast out, that old serpent, called the devil and Satan. Going back to the garden in Genesis, all right, the serpent. So that word meant in the Hebrew, nakash, meaning a diviner. All right, dealing with back then, all right, you had the serpent in the garden. That serpent became a dragon, all right, because that same spirit would come back into earth as these devils, man, Esau. All right. And Esau would come into power, all right, and become you would have his power structure come to be, all right, through NATO and the EU. Them European nations, them Edomite nations. Right, but the Lord is coming to strip his power away. The Lord is coming to take him out of power, man. And the great dragon was cast out, the old serpent called the devil and Satan. All right, devil meaning diabolos in the Greek. Slanderous, accusing falsely. Culminator, false accuser, slanderer. All right. And Satan, Satanas, adversary, one who opposes another in purpose or act. The prince of evil spirits, the inveterate adversary of the Most High and Yahushua, because he's averse to the righteousness of the Heavenly Father. All right, the wicked, man, was deceived the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. So Esau, he's actually going to try to fight against the Lord and his angels, but he's not going to prevail. All right, and he's going to be cast out. And see, the elite of Esau, they're going to be hiding in the dumps, the deep underground military bunkers. But they're going to get plucked right back up and thrown into captivity. All right, they're going to be the first fruits of slavery, man, in the kingdom. And they know this is about to happen. So Habakkuk. Matter of fact, I'm going to jump to 2 Ezra 13 real quick. 2 Ezra 13. I'm going to start at start from the top. 2 Ezra 13:1. And it came to pass after 7 days, I dreamed a dream by night. All right, this is in a vision that Ezra saw. All right. And lo, there arose a wind from the sea, that it moved all the ways thereof. And I beheld, and lo, that man waxed strong with the thousands of heaven, dealing with Yahushua and his angels, his armada, his fleet. And when he turned his countenance to look, all the things trembled that was seen under him. Verse 4, and whensoever the voice went out of his mouth, all they burned that heard his voice. Like as the earth faileth when it feeleth the fire, which the voice is going into the concentrated fire coming from the chariots. All right, the laser beams. Verse 5, and after this I beheld, and lo, there was gathered together a multitude of men, out of number, from the four winds of heaven, to subdue the man that came out of the sea. All right, because that multitude that was gathered dealing with them nations over there, all right, that are going to be fighting one another in the east. Right, but in the midst of this Third World War popping off, right, these nations are going to be fighting one another, and they're going to see Yahushua and his angels, all right, and they're going to stop fighting one another in over there in the east, and they're going to engage the Lord and his angels. It says, verse 6, but I beheld, and lo, he had graved himself a great mountain, and flew upon it. But I would have seen the region or place whereout the hill was graven, and I could not, which is a likeness, a similitude for how big the Lord's ship was in this vision. He said he saw it, but I beheld, and lo, he had graved himself a great mountain. You know? He said, but I would have seen the region or place whereout the hill was graven, and I could not. And after this I beheld, and lo, all they which were gathered together to subdue him were so afraid, and yet there's fight. All right, because the Lord is going to have the spirit on them to fight, man. They're going to be afraid. They're going to be afraid seeing the Lord, all right, and these so-called UFOs pop up. But the Lord, he's actually going to have the spirit on them to fight. And lo, as he saw the violence of the multitude that came, he neither lifted up his hand, nor held sword, nor any instrument of war. Yeah, because Yahushua, he's going to see these nations band up, all right, and aim their AA guns or whatever the case may be, all right, and that's not going to be enough to move the Lord, all right. Verse 10, but only I saw that he sent out of his mouth, as it had been, a blast of fire, and out of his lips a flaming breath, and out of his tongue he cast out sparks and tempests, which is dealing with the laser beams coming from the ships. All right, because it's not literal, like where it says he sent out of his mouth, as it had been, the blast of fire, and out of his lips, right, and out of his tongue. It's talking about the laser beams coming from the ships. Verse 11, and they were all mixed together, the blast of fire, the flame and breath, and the great tempest that concentrated fire, and fell with violence upon the multitude which was prepared to fight, and burned them up every one, so that upon a sudden of an innumerable multitude nothing was to be perceived. So the Lord just sent down a laser beam and eviscerated them, completely just wiped them out, burned them up, beat them into powder. So that upon a sudden of an innumerable multitude nothing was to be perceived, but only dust and smell of smoke. And when I saw this, I was afraid. This was a very vivid vision, all right, that Ezra received. So now let me go to Habakkuk 3:3. It says, God came from Teman, the Holy One from Mount Paran, Salah. His glory, Salah, covered the heavens, and the earth was full of his praise. Because these chariots are going to cover the heavens, all right? And his brightness was as the light, yet horns coming out of his hand, and there was the hiding of his power, right? Which we always go into the horns. So that word there is Quran, which says of rays of light. He had horns coming out of his hand, and there was a hiding of his power. And the NLT is coming is as brilliant as the sunrise, because the sun rises in the east and sets in the west. You know, it's bright. That's how the Lord is coming. He's making his way from the east. All right, he's going to deal with them armies over there in the east. And he's going to make his way to the Western Hemisphere to deal with this place, America. Rays of light flash from his hands, dealing with the laser beams. All right, where the awesome power is hidden, where his awesome power is hidden. It says, before him in the KJV, before him went the pestilence, and burning coals went forth at his feet. All right, because you're gonna have the missiles coming down as well. All right. It says, verse 6, he stood and measured the earth. He shook the earth. Right? Yo, Yahushua gonna come back, he gonna shake the earth up. All right, scriptures talk about how the earth shall rule to and fro like a drunkard because of the missiles hitting. All right, but that ship is gonna rattle the earth too. He stood and measured the earth. He beheld and drove asunder the nations, and the everlasting mountains were scattered. The perpetual hills did bow. His ways are everlasting. All right, which mountains are synonymous with governments. Which Yahushua, upon his return, he's going to subdue the governments of the heathen.